Muy buenos días a todos, me da muchísimo gusto saludarlos. Soy María Ariza, Directora General de BIVA. Es un honor darles la bienvenida a nuestro piso de operaciones. Me complace hoy darles la bienvenida a una de las comunidades más influyentes de liderazgo femenino a nivel global, Women Corporate Directors, edición México. Saludo con muchísimo gusto a todas nuestras invitadas esta mañana que nos acompañan en el piso de operaciones y especialmente a quienes están sentadas aquí conmigo. Mónica Loaiza, ella es Chair de Women Corporate Directors en México, y Beth Vitale, ella es Interim CEO de Women Corporate Directors. Y bueno, por supuesto, a todo el grupo que nos acompaña de Women Corporate Directors y de BIVA esta mañana. Bueno, pues este encuentro representa una valiosísima oportunidad para fortalecer los lazos entre el mercado de capitales y el liderazgo femenino en los negocios, en la inversión y en la toma de decisiones estratégicas dentro de las empresas. En este contexto donde la diversidad, la inclusión, la integridad son fundamentales para el crecimiento sostenible de las organizaciones, Women Corporate Directors justamente envía hoy un mensaje muy poderoso. México está comprometido con construir un futuro donde las mujeres tengan un rol protagonista en los consejos de administración de las empresas públicas y privadas en México. Los datos creo que respaldan este objetivo. Las empresas con mayor representación de mujeres en posiciones claves presentan una posibilidad 39% mayor de superar financieramente a aquellas con menor representación de mujeres. Esta tendencia ha crecido de forma sostenida desde el 2015, lo que demuestra que los beneficios de la diversidad de género no solo se mantienen, sino que se fortalecen con el tiempo. Los consejos de administración, donde se toman las decisiones estratégicas más relevantes, incluidas las políticas de diversidad, equidad e inclusión, pues cobra una importancia crítica. Las empresas han superado el umbral del 30% de representación femenina en consejos, justo han demostrado tener esa ventaja competitiva en términos de rendimiento. Y pues esto confirma justamente que la inclusión no solo aporta nuevas perspectivas, sino que se traduce en mejores decisiones y resultados financieros. Hay mucho por hacer. Hay mucho por hacer. Todavía, según datos del INCO, 13% de los asientos de consejos de las empresas listadas están ocupados por mujeres, un porcentaje considerablemente pequeño y por debajo del promedio global. Y además, esto no incluye el peor el número en términos de consejos de administración independientes, que ahora seguramente platicaremos, ¿no? En BIVA creemos firmemente en el poder de estas alianzas para justamente fomentar un ecosistema bursátil más competitivo, más incluyente y representativo de la realidad que vivimos. Nos emociona ser parte de esta conversación que promueve no solo la equidad de género, sino también la excelencia con la toma de decisiones corporativas. Muchas gracias. At this point, we're going to switch to English so that we can all start the interview with our guests. I'm pleased to begin this conversation with Mónica and Beth. To explore how is women corporate directors shaping the future of corporate leadership and what means that for Mexico and Latin America. So let me start with Beth, if that's okay. For those who do not know what corporate directors are, women corporate directors, could you briefly explain to us, share what is the core purpose of the institution?
Sure, I'm glad to do that, and I'm glad to be here. Women Corporate Directors is an organization that's 25 years old. We're celebrating that anniversary. It's
amazing.
It's the oldest and only nonprofit global organization serving women corporate directors around the world. And our purpose is to educate women with the experts in industries of the top issues that are facing boards of directors. And we do that through our chapter network. Mónica is one of our chapter chairs right here in Mexico. And the reason why we do this, it's important to investors and it's important to shareholders, because when you have over 3 women on a board, you will have a higher rate of 84% increase in return on sales, 64% on return on invested capital, and less restatements by 33%. So it is the good thing to do for our shareholders.
Oh my God, those numbers are amazing. 84% in increased sales. Look at us, eh? And I wanna continue with Mónica. How has women corporate directors contributed to advancing board diversity and female leadership, particularly in Mexico?
Thank you, Maria, and very happy to be here. Thank you for having us. You're such a great person. You always have us in with all the events and pushing women, visualizing them.
That's my honor.
So what do we do in WCD Mexico is we're trying to get to people to know us, who we are. To be women corporate directors, you have to be a corporate director of a public company or a family-owned company with more than 100 million income. Okay. So many people ask us, we're the women. We don't we don't see the woman. So one of the things, apart from educating, as Mary Beth said, what we're doing is giving those women the opportunity and the forum to see who they are and what they bring to the table, their expertise. So we already have almost 80 persons in 80 members in WCD Mexico, and we have grown over the past 3 years more than 100%. So we're bringing all those women that are in public companies, in private companies, and educating them with the risk topics and the changing world that we live in every day.
Visibilize and professionalize women in Mexico. Amazing. Beth, on a bigger picture, why is the diversity, and particularly gender diversity, considered a strategic imperative for corporate boards?
Well, the key thing is it's better for our shareholders. They're going to have an increase in all the points that I mentioned earlier. But the fact is women just don't wait for the question to be answered. They want a response that makes sense. And we keep asking the questions, and that's when we start digging deeper to avoid the risks that are there or mitigate the risks. And it's really important to have that diversity of thought. You have, by, I think it's 2028, the consumer buying power is 80% is women. They take care of that, and they are the customers of your corporations that are here on BIVA's exchange. And so it really is important that you're listening to who your customers are.
And who's taking the decision after all, no?
Yes, women are making the decisions.
Completely. I'm staying with you. We've seen powerful data showing that companies with greater female representation in leadership roles are more likely to financially outperform. What does this number tell us about the value of inclusive leadership?
Well, you really definitely want diversity on the board, whether it be women, gender diversity, or ethnicity, because they bring a different perspective, and they may see something that you don't see. So I think it's really valuable for that. And I think we need to really keep in mind, there's not a shortage of women who are capable. They're just not known. And that is the issue that we need to really bring to the forefront. And I always promote the fact that women need to say yes to everything. Somebody asks you to speak at a homeowners association, or just speak, because you never know who that person at the homeowners may be, a CEO or a chair of a nom-gov that says, this person may be somebody I should consider to be on my board.
That's true. That's exactly true. When you put yourself out there and you have the courage to speak out, people can see you. And that's so important for Mexico women in particularly. Mónica, what are the main advances we've seen in female inclusion on boards in Mexico, and what challenges need to be addressed?
Thank you, Maria. I think the challenges are still the same. Yeah. Visualizing that you have the woman with the expertise that can sit on the board. And it's kind of hard with our culture. When I sit down still on the table, even in international companies here in Mexico, we still are, the single woman. When you don't see more than one woman, nobody is, how to say it, sorry, peleado. with their money, you know, against their profits. And you say, why don't you have? Because it's not about being just a woman. It's just being about diversity, what you bring to the table, a different perspective, and that will complement all the board. So the challenges are still the same, and what we're doing here is trying to give visibility to the people that take the decisions, the chair of the boards that we are here. And it's a business case. And I said, if there's a business case, why don't we do it? What do we have to bring into the community to let them know that it's on their behalf? That's a question that we were reflecting last week. And there's no answer, Maria. Mm-hmm.
Completely, wow. Beth, could you share with us a meaningful personal or professional story that has shaped your views on board leadership for the work you have done?
Well, I think a personal story that I was chair of NomGov of a corporation, a publicly traded company, and at one point I want to make is that the women in Women Corporate Director have 50% more of them serve than other women serve as leadership roles. And that's where the decisions are made. Completely. And you can influence them. And so one of the boards that I served on, it was a financial holding company board, and I was chair of the NomGov. And so I made sure the other two, we had three at the time, board that were all women. We were all named Mary. By the way, Mary Beth and Mary here and Mary Catherine, and I made sure, finagled it in, took about a year or two, that we would all chair all the committees. So all the women named Mary chaired all the committees. Wow. And then that's when the decisions are being made.
Amazing. Great. Mónica, what advice would you give to the next generation of women seeking to become board members?
Thank you. I think they have to take the risk. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We women usually see the profile and say, well, out of those 10 requisites, I only comply with 8 of them. And they don't even put their curriculum over on the table. So I think it's about risk and believing in yourself and just have your mind set to what you want. If you want to be a board member, work for it and do the networking. And I'll give you a funny story. When they asked me, how did you get into boards? And I said, I was only 22 years old coming out of college, and I was working for a Mexican bank. And my boss didn't come in that day, and my boss's boss asked for some papers for the board of directors. So here they are, Monica, 22 years old, and I went to this board of directors, of course, all men, banking. And I just sat there, just looking at them and looking at all the decisions and how they were shaping the future of the company. And at that moment, Maria, I said, I want to be in this table one day. But I guess I was lucky that I was there that day. I wanted to be there, and I've worked my career to be where I am right now. So I'm very proud to be a board of director. Thank you.
I'm so honored to meet you. So from this trading floor, where decisions meet markets, what message would you like to share with all of us about inclusion, leadership, and the future we're building together?
Well, I think it's really important that if you have everybody with the same views, same backgrounds, you're going to get the same answers. And I think it's really important to have diverse answers, diverse thoughts. You could throw some away and take some of the others, but when you're only listening to one line of thought, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the making decisions. And I think that's really important for boards to think about, of having that type of situation. And gender is one of the key factors there.
Thank you, Beth. Mónica, last reflection.
Be there, make yourself visible, and speak out. You're there in the table already, so please speak out and don't let anybody intimidate you.
Excelente. Muchísimas gracias. Fue un honor para mí esta entrevista. Y bueno, pues si me pueden acompañar al piso de operaciones, por favor, para tocar nuestra campana.